Namaskar. Welcome to Prakash on Basics. I'm Prakash Zo. There are always those who want to break away from the normal. They have their own ideas, their own principles. They are those who are new pathfinders in their own times. Some gain ever multiplying followers, some with fewer ever diminishing followers, disciples, finally fizzle out. Others become a part of other larger groups. This happens everywhere. Some do not have their own historical records, and all these are lost in time. This is what happened in India too, in the Indian subcontinent for that matter. The Vedic Dharma started off more than about 6,000 years ago, 7,000 you could say, and it evolved out of the ideas and ideologies proposed in the Vedas and the corresponding literature. And this was what is typically referred to as the Vedic Dharma. All those ideas that were in favor of this Vedic Dharma found their way into the Vedic literature itself. But that it is quite obvious that even then, in that time, there would have been people who were not of the same ideologies, not of the same following, not of the same concepts. Some of them are referred to in some of the books that were available at that time and in the literature of that time. But many of them do not have their own historical records, neither any form of preserved literature. We know of them only through their references by others. Over the ages, these Indian thinkers have come up with different philosophical thoughts. They were different from the Vedic thought, and these people were classified in a different manner. They were all referred to as the Shramans. The Jain and the Buddhist texts and literature comment and refer to these people. The Vedic literature also has some minor references. It is only these that tell us about these Shramanas that existed in the ancient times. They form a category or a tradition of their own. Surprisingly, the Jains and the Buddhists use the same word Shramana or Samana as it is in Pali for their own monks too. So naturally, sometimes there is a confusion between the ideas proposed by the Buddhist and the Jain Shamanas and the original Shamanas that we are talking of today. Since Jain and Buddhist literature is of a period of Mahavir and Gautam Buddha, these lesser known Shramana acharyas or gurus or teachers are naturally from that period only, that is contemporaries of Buddha and Mahavir, that is of Jain culture. This period is around 800 BC to around 600 BC, which is typically referred to as the Mahajanapada period, where small kingdoms were formed. Referred to them long back in some of our discussions. Um, it is here that the Jain literature and the Buddhist literature refers to quite a few things, in which the Shramanas are also mentioned, including their names. And in the earlier Vedas, there is only description of some of them, and there are no names as such. And as far as the Buddhists and the Jains are concerned, Since the philosophy of many of them clashed with that of Buddha, and there are no words of praise for them, just some information, and sometimes that too conflicting. Earlier in the Bruhadaranya Upanishad, they are referred to as the Keshi, the ones with long hair, Yati or Muni or Rishis, ascetics, sages with dusty, loose fitting clothes. In the Taittiriya Aranyak and the Yajurved also, there is a reference to the Shramana Rishis. But the major references are from the Buddhist literature. The Sutta Pitaka, the second major treatise from the Tripitakas of Buddhist literature. There's a section called Dirgha Nikaya. In it, there is a Mahaparinirvana Sutra, Mahanirvana Sutra as referred to sometimes. I'm using not the Pali but the original Sanskrit words. Mm. In it, the description of the Shramanas or Samana is being given. The Samana sect masters, acharyas, have been identified, and it states that there are some Shramana Brahman masters, religious founders who have their own philosophies. They are Purna Kashyapa, Makhali Goshal, Ajit Keshakambali, Prakrudha Katyayan, Sanjay Belatti Putra, and Nirgantha Nathaputra. These are the original Sanskrit names of these people. You would find the pronunciation slightly different when you look up some Pali literature corresponding to these people. Makhali Goshal started an Ajivaka sect, which I'm going to come to next time. And Nirgrantha Nathaputra is Mahavir who brought forth the Jain religion. That's an independent topic to deal with altogether. I'll be dealing with those in some later episodes. Let me also point out that in present day books, Vedic religious movement is called Brahmanism, and non Vedic movements as Shramanism, including Jain and Buddhism. So many a times there is a misunderstanding that Shramanism is opposing or against Brahmins or Brahmins. It is against the Vedic thought processes, not the sect or rather the section of Brahmins, as many a times it has been interpreted even up to today's date. Let's know about these Shramanas to some extent. Purna Kashyapa preached what is known as the Akriyavad. Basically, it means inaction. He is called a Hetuvadi, one without objectives, and Nishkriyatavadi, that means not interested in performing or doing anything. According to him, all outcomes result finally into sorrow. So why do anything? Just do whatever pleases you and makes you happy. That's all. The Samana Phalashru Sutra of the of the Buddhist literature explains his viewpoint in reference to a particular story. Uh, there is no reward or punishment in afterlife for any of the deeds that you do. If you walk along one of the coasts of Ganga performing good deeds and along the second one performing bad deeds, you're not going to gain anything. There is no accumulation of good or bad merits that takes place. His views, many a times later on, are reflected to a small extent in the Sankhya Darshan or the Sankhya philosophy. We'll use that a little later again. Then there was Ajita Kesh Kambali, who believed in materialism. He had a robe of hair which used to get hot in summer and cold in winter. So he believed in personal torment which led to enlightenment. He is called Uchedavadi, all including the Atma, the soul, gets destroyed at the end of life. Only the elements remain. So why waste your time and energy? Live happily. That's what he believed. Prakrutra Kachayana, originally Prakruddha Katyayana, preached the Anekatva Vad or the Shaswata Vad, eternalism as it is referred to in some of the English versions. According to him, there are seven eternal contributors to everything: earth, fire, water, air, soul, pleasure, and pain. These are all the seven things that really matter. There is no single Brahma as such. Life and death is not by God, but it is because of these seven eternal factors. His ideas are closer to the Vaisheshika philosophy or the Vaisheshika darshan. His followers later on joined the Ajivaka sect, and his sect gradually fizzled out. Then there was the Sanjay Belatti Putra or the Vairati Putra. He was the contemporary of Gautam Buddha himself, and he was from the kingdom of Magadha. Buddhist texts say that he did not have any firm views either way on many of the major topics that people used to talk of: God, rebirth, soul, etc. There was no definite answer. Uh, he had two early disciples, Mahamoggalayan and Sariputra. They left him and joined Gautam Buddha and became among his important, prominent disciples later on. He tended to evade crucial answers. He said that there was no complete knowledge of any sort about so many things. All these were acharyas or preachers or gurus. They had a common life pattern. They all started with renunciation of family life, went into isolation, went in for meditation, acquiring knowledge, and then preaching whatever knowledge they had acquired, then gathering their own disciples, forming what is known as the Sangha, the disciple cadre, which obviously was the Shramana and accepted the Shramana lifestyle. The word Shramana comes from Sanskrit Shrama, the one who makes great efforts through physical and mental restraint to achieve ultimate knowledge. That's what the word Shramana is. So the Shramana were basically a variety of renunciate ascetics seeking and preaching knowledge in their own times. Though they had diverse beliefs, some factors were common. They all were Gnostic, that is, they did not believe in the authority of the Vedas. They were against Karmakanda, that is, the rituals. They strictly followed ahimsa, non-violence. They were ascetics, virakta as it was known, detached from society and family. They believed in equality. No caste or creed mattered when you had to join their sangha. And they lived in austerity. They survived on bhiksha, that is alms, and believed that asking for food made you humble. The sangha that they established followed the precepts of the founder. His teachings were the rule that were to be followed by all those in the sangha. According to them, hardship in life was the only medium for salvation. By around 14th century, all these independent Shraman groups had become insignificant. Only some of them, in terms of references in Jain and more in Buddhist literatures, survived. Makhali Ghoshal, of course, established the Ajivaka sect, which continued for quite some time and gained fair amount of popularity. It is this that we will talk of sometime later. So these are some of the people who tried to contribute to the new forms of thought processes in this Indian subcontinent many, many hundred years ago. Not all of them were successful. The successful ones, of course, were Mahavir and later on Gautam Buddha. Of them, we'll discuss in detail much later. If you have liked whatever I have said, please pass on this information to all your friends. Let them know about these unknown characters from the history of this great nation. Let them know something about some of the ideas that have been preached by these people. If you have liked whatever I have said, please subscribe to this channel, like these presentations. I'll continue with the next logical extension of the Ajivakas next time. Till then, Namaskar.